Okay, so we're diving into this whole debate about Elon Musk, Starlink satellites, and what it all means for, well, our ability to actually see the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of interesting questions from you guys about this one, and we've got some great sources lined up. Oh, including this BBC article. It really caught my eye.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where you've got amazing technology potentially connecting everyone everywhere, even the middle of nowhere. But then there's always a but, right? Things we got to think about on the flip side.
Exactly, and that's why we're digging into it. So Starlink, just in case anyone's been off-grid themselves, it's basically a whole network of these satellites up in space, beaming down crazy fast internet.
And they're not kidding about the speed. That BBC piece they were saying in the UK, Starlink's like 4 times faster than your average internet plan. They even talked about this family out in the countryside. Went from barely streaming a video to, boom, multiple devices, no problem.
See, that's huge for people in those areas. Makes total sense why everyone's talking about it. But, and I'm guessing this is where our listener's question comes in, those satellites sending us work emails and cat videos, they're also emitting radio waves. And those waves mess with how we see the universe.
Exactly. It's a real concern. Astronomers, they use these incredibly precise instruments, radio telescopes, to study, well, everything out there. Galaxies, black holes, even planets around other stars, way, way out there, picking up the faintest signals.
So almost like trying to have a conversation across a room packed with people, but then someone wheels in these, I don't know, giant humming machines, making it impossible to hear anything else.
Perfect analogy. Because these telescopes are tuned to very specific radio waves coming from space and the Starlink signals, they can drown out those whispers, the ones we actually want to hear from the cosmos.
And it's not just about losing a few pixels in our space pictures, right? Like, what happens if we can't hear those whispers? How does that impact how we understand, I don't know, everything?
Well, radio astronomy, that's been key to some of the biggest discoveries in astrophysics. Pulsars, quasars, even the cosmic microwave background, which is basically the afterglow of the Big Bang itself.
Okay, now that is what I call a deep dive. So we're potentially messing with our ability to understand the origin of the universe. That's kind of a big deal.
It's a huge deal. And it's not just about looking back in time either. Radio telescopes, they're crucial for the search for life beyond Earth, too.
Yeah, we're talking about trying to pick up these super faint signals. Could be anything, signs of technology, maybe even just the basic ingredients for life out there on other planets.
So not just missing pretty pictures, we could be missing, like, alien civilizations because of this interference.
It's a real possibility. And the scale of this, it's kind of mind-blowing. We're not talking about a couple of satellites, not anymore. There are already thousands of these Starlink things up there. And SpaceX, they're just getting started.
Thousands. Wow. Okay, yeah, that's a lot of interference potential. Didn't SpaceX, though, didn't they try to fix this? I thought they redesigned the satellites or something. They did make some changes, added a special coating, I think, to reduce how much light they reflect, which helps a little with the optical astronomy, the stuff using regular light telescopes, that is.
But at least they're trying to be careful. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Problem is, radio waves, totally different beast, much harder to like muffle or redirect. And get this, the newer Starlinks, the V2s, those are way more powerful. The article said something like 32 times stronger radio emissions than the first ones.
Hold on, 32 times. So it's like they tried turning down one radio, but then brought in like a whole stadium concert worth of speakers at the same time.
Pretty much. And here's the other thing. It's not just SpaceX anymore, right? Amazon's jumping in, other companies. Everyone wants a piece of that space internet pie, so to speak.
So even if SpaceX figures it out, goes totally silent, we've still got this massive traffic jam of satellites up there. What do we even do about that?
That's where it gets tricky. Right now, there aren't really like global rules about how much radio interference these satellite mega constellations can put out.
Seriously. We have noise ordinances in cities, but nothing for space. That seems, I don't know, like we miss a memo somewhere.
It's a big concern in the scientific community. People are pushing for, some kind of international agreement, regulation, something before it gets even more out of hand.
It's like we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. We want everyone connected. It's amazing. But then we risk losing our ability to even study, the universe around us. Almost the tragedy of the commons, but on a, cosmic level, I guess.
Yeah, no easy answers here. It's a lot to balance. Helping people here, exploring out there. How do we even begin to figure that out?
Well, it is complicated for sure, but I don't think it's hopeless. The BBC article, they mentioned some things like focusing on the technology itself. What if we could design these satellites So they make way less noise, radio-wise, maybe using different frequencies or something.
So like how Bluetooth headphones, they use their own little frequency so they don't mess with everything else.
Exactly. If we can get those things to, like, coexist, satellites, telescopes, all on that electromagnetic spectrum, that'd be huge.
Makes sense. Anything else people are thinking about?
There's this idea, some astronomers are into it, setting up these special zones, radio quiet zones here on Earth, places where, like, no interference is allowed at all to protect the really sensitive telescopes.
It's like national parks, but for radio waves.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool idea. Quiet spaces to listen to the universe.
Yeah, I like that. Of course, it'd take a lot of, everyone working together globally, and it might not even be possible everywhere.
Right. Can't exactly put a mute button on an entire continent. But it shows you got to get creative with this stuff, especially with more and more tech coming out, companies launching their own satellite things. It's going to get even trickier.
Definitely. That's why, having these conversations now is so important. The more we think about it, try to find solutions, the better chance we have. Keep exploring space without, sacrificing all the good stuff technology does down here, too.
Absolutely. A lot to think about, that's for sure.
Crazy how something as normal as, like, getting online can have these huge consequences, right?
It really shows you, though, how connected everything is. Even to the farthest reaches of space, it all ties back to us, the choices we're making now. Our understanding of the universe generations from now, it kind of depends on what we do today.
Well said. And to everyone listening, if you're as fascinated by this as we are, keep the conversation going. Do some digging. See what's being done about this whole satellite thing. Think about the trade-offs, technology versus discovery. Let us know your thoughts, because the future of space, well, it might just depend on us figuring this out.